It's time for Ask the Expert, your chance to learn something new every day. Let's find out who our expert is today.
Hi there, it's Larry with Ask the Experts Food Edition. Welcome, and we're sitting here having a cup of coffee with a friend of mine who I call the baker because I know she likes to bake. And I'm kind of jealous in a way because I'm not good at baking because I'm not good at following the rules. And that's why I like to cook on top of the stove, because if you want to throw some squash in the beef stroganoff,
yeah, cooking
add a little
is
of this.
an art, baking is a science.
Absolutely. So you have to follow the rules. But what we're doing is interviews with people who cook and who we hope learned something from their mom, because it's Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
Mother's Month, we're calling it. So what I'd love to ask you is if you can remember the first time you found yourself in the kitchen, either with your mom or without your mom. And were you like a helper? Were you an eater? Did you do the dishes? What happened in the kitchen with your mom?
I think, okay, if we're going to go really far back to first memories, I think the first thing I remember is one time when I was really little, it was raining super hard outside, and my mom decided that we were going to have s'mores, and we had a gas stove. So we roasted marshmallows over the gas stove.
Oh, how neat is that?
Yeah.
You remember that smell?
Yeah. And
because it's a pretty definitive smell.
Yeah. And then another time, my sister and I decided to make soup for Mom and Dad, and we were both very young. I'm amazed that they let us free in the kitchen, but we just put everything we could find in this soup, and it ended up being this very populated vegetable soup, and my sister and I hated it because so many vegetables, but when we were making it, we thought we were mad geniuses,
right?
And our parents liked it, but we didn't think it was that interesting.
That's right. Now, I apologize, I forgot to introduce, this is Laurel.
Hello.
And she has a sister whose name is Cassie, and I'm going to talk to Cassie at another time to get her take on this.
Yeah.
So you didn't necessarily love the vegetable soup, huh?
Well, Cassie came up with the idea. She called it rock soup. We put a rock in it. We couldn't find the rock afterwards, so
oh, no.
I think it became an extra mineralized
That's
vegetable
funny.
soup.
That reminds me, I had a job once making sub sandwiches at a sub shop, and they put me in the window so people walking down the street could watch me make it. And I had a Band-Aid on my finger because I cut. And I was making sandwiches as fast as I could, and I looked down and my Band-Aid was gone.
No.
And then I looked out at the window, and people were looking at me and laughing at the fact that my Band-Aid was probably on somebody's sandwich. Anyway.
That's why you wear gloves.
So, that now, this was a long time ago. But more about baking now. So when did you start baking?
I genuinely did not get super interested in baking until COVID happened. I was more of a cook before that because I like experimenting, and you still can experiment with baking. But I enjoyed cooking more. But during COVID, I got bored. I had nothing to do, and during the kind of early days of COVID, my uncle died, and I needed something to do with my grief. So I made a sourdough starter, and I named it after him. You
made a sourdough starter?
Yeah.
How do you make a sourdough starter?
Okay, so yeast is present everywhere.
Right.
It's in the air, it's on your vegetables, it's in your hair. I mean, it's all over the place. So all you need to do is give it a home to live and grow. So there's yeast already present on the wheat berries when it's ground into flour.
Right.
So what you do is you take flour and you mix it with water, and you basically continuously feed it more flour and water until it starts to multiply on its own, and then you Then you do what is called a discard, where you discard 90% of it, and then you feed that 10%, and that shocks it into only letting the strong yeast survive.
So how do you know when it's starting to do what it needs to do? Does it smell? Does it bubble up?
There is a smell. In the beginning, it kind of smelled like gym socks, but eventually it started to smell bready and nice. And there was a bit where it kind of smelled cheesy. There was a lot of development going on.
So after, then you do, what did you call it? Where you take...
You discard.
Yeah. So after that, then what happens to it?
Then you discard and feed it for a couple more days until it's a little bit more established, and then you can bake with it. You have to wait until it can double on its own within 6 hours.
Is it watery or is it mushy?
It depends. The ratio is all up to you. A watery starter can rise a little bit faster than a stiff starter, but both of them are valid and can be used.
So, what's the difference between naturally fermented sourdough and fake sourdough?
It's not fake. It's so other breads are made with commercial yeast, and yeast is a living organism. So, commercial yeast is a yeast that's been bred to rise quickly. So it's basically like taking a local basketball player and comparing them to an NBA player.
Oh, wow, okay.
So it's somebody who just, they make bread. It's nice. It's cozy. It takes a few days. Or we make bread. It happens today.
Now, so you're talking like in some scientific terms. How did you learn all that?
I have a tendency to hyper-focus. So I will find something that I'm interested in, and then I will research the bejesus out of it until I know everything that I could possibly know about it. But the thing with sourdough is that you can't possibly know everything about it because it's a natural organism, and your situation is different from other people's situations. So you have to learn as you go, and things change.
Is it affected by the atmosphere?
Yes, it definitely is. All baking is affected by the atmosphere.
This is really interesting because I studied cheese because I had a cheese shop in Colorado. And I read a story about this one French cheese that everybody loved a lot, and they expanded, and they needed to move from one location to another because it wasn't big enough. Mm-hmm. And when they moved and started making the cheese in the new place, it wasn't the same.
Exactly.
And they found out
it's environmental.
What we're just talking about. It was in the walls and
that's why some cheeses are only allowed to be named that cheese name if it's made in the town that it started in.
Right, like Roquefort.
Yeah, exactly.
Is a good example.
Because it's not going to be the same kind of cheese if it's made somewhere else. There's literally different bacteria in different cows' systems. Like if you use milk from cows from a different area, it's going to change.
Do you eat dairy?
Yeah, I try. I'm lactose intolerant. I do it anyway.
Do you take Lactaid?
I do, yeah.
Oh, I have them in the car.
Yeah.
Especially for ice cream.
I've only been lactose intolerant for about a year or two, and I've been adjusting.
So I'm sorry to go back to the sourdough, if you don't, because I'm supposed to eat sourdough bread as opposed to any other bread because I have gluten intolerance. Mm-hmm. So did you bake sourdough bread?
Yeah, I baked sourdough. I actually, I kind of use it as artistic expression and more than just the baking because when you make sourdough, you have to score the bread so that the gas has a place to escape or your bread is just going to kind of explode.
Interesting.
And I scored designs in mine.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I scored designs in mine.
Oh, interesting.
So I will...
a pattern of some kind?
Yes, I draw in my bread, and then I take pictures, and I'll ask my friends, hey, I'm going to be making bread. What should I put in it this time around? And some people will say squirrel.
Oh my gosh! Oh, look at that! So I have to say, I'm looking at a picture that Laurel just showed me of a sourdough loaf that's baked and brown and crusty, and there is a shape of a squirrel in the middle of it.
And here's a rubber duck.
Oh my gosh! I mean, has anybody ever said to you that you should market those?
They have, but then I would need to get a cottage baking license and all sorts of other things. You see, I research the bejesus out of everything I do, like I said.
Well, but it's important. I mean, I think you have to do that. I mean, oh, there's a little rabbit head.
And one time, I asked my father, what is your favorite animal? Because I was going to carve it into a piece of bread, or not a piece of bread, but a loaf of bread for him. He said, I don't have a favorite animal. And then I said, you know what? I know exactly what to do. I got you. So I carved the Porsche emblem in a bread.
Oh, that is, my gosh, Laurel. I mean, that's worth $100. I'm not kidding. I bet you somebody would pay $100 for that.
But
to give it to somebody for their birthday that was a Porsche fanatic?
Yeah. Normally people just will score, one long line or two lines, like, in a crosshatch or something. But I will actually carve with an X-Acto knife so I can get more detail.
I mean, I buy tons of sourdough bread. I buy San Luis sourdough, and there's always scoring in it.
Yeah.
In fact, I try to look for ones when I go to buy them that aren't puffy, because sometimes there's bubbles in the bread, and it's,
Yeah, that's
But anyway, but what about sweets now? Do you bake sweet things?
Yeah, I'll bake desserts. Now that it's starting to become spring-like, I like to bake a lot of stuff with lemon. That just seems springy to me.
I love lemon.
I recently made a batch of what I call lemon loaf, which is kind of like a lemony pound
Oh,
cake.
you had some
Yeah.
2 Sundays ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
I had to make 3 loaves, one for me, one for the neighbor who provided the lemons, and one for Easter.
I mean, I think lemon flavor is special. I like it in
it's very refreshing.
other foods that I cook too.
Another dessert that I like to make during the spring is it's a lemon-based tiramisu instead of coffee.
Huh.
So instead of coffee and chocolate, it is lemon, blackberry, and white chocolate.
Yeah, sounds phenomenal.
It's amazing.
So can you make desserts with sourdough?
You can. I haven't personally done it because I kind of feel like the sour flavor with a sweet sounds bizarre. But I've actually been gifted a recipe book that is intended to use sourdough discard with desserts. I just haven't gotten around to using it.
Well, I mean, you
yet.
think of like Chinese sweet and sour.
Yeah, I suppose.
So maybe, who knows? Because I mean, the sourdough that the commercial sourdough that I buy, it's not really that sour.
That's actually the thing. It's true sourdough is difficult to predict, and that doesn't really lend itself to commercial applications. So a lot of the times they will use an acid to make the bread sour and make it taste like sourdough.
Interesting. But still use a fermented sourdough
Sometimes
starter?
they'll put like discard in it to make it the flavor, but not every grocery store sourdough is a true sourdough.
So do you cook at home for yourself much?
Yeah, I do. I actually cooked a lot this last week, and then I overdid it, but it was good because I had all of those leftovers for dinner, and I didn't have to cook for
So do you give credit to your mom for did she encourage you to cook?
Yeah, she encouraged us, and actually one of my favorite things to cook, which I actually did cook this last week, is this dish called chicken divan.
I've heard of chicken divan.
Yeah.
Is that spinach?
No, it's broccoli.
Broccoli.
But that is my favorite comfort food because my mom would make it for us, and she got the recipe from a friend of hers. And it's chicken and broccoli in this really creamy, Campbell's Campbell's mushroom soup-based sauce. But it's a creamy curry sauce, and then cheese melted on top. And then you serve it on top of rice, and the rice soaks up the curry sauce.
Sounds great.
That was one of the first things I learned how to cook because my mom taught me, because since it was one of my favorite foods, I wanted to know how to make it. And then during my first quarter of college, my mom asked me, what do you want as your first meal when you get home? And I said, chicken divan.
That's funny. I remember asking my father about eggs because he was really picky about eggs. And he said, I like my eggs over medium, runny yellow, not runny white.
Yes,
and he
same.
taught me how to make an egg over medium. That was the first thing I learned how to cook when I was maybe 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah, I also, one of the earliest things I used to make was eggs in a basket where you cut a little hole in a piece of bread and
I've heard of that.
You fry the egg inside of the bread.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe I haven't.
It's got so many names.
In a slice of bread?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen that. I know what that is. I haven't ever done that. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I have done that.
It's got so many names. It could be called bullseye. It could be called eggs in a basket.
But do you flip it over?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that before.
It's basically a delivery service for lots and lots of butter.
Yeah, right.
So
Well, listen, it's really neat to be able. Let me see how long we've been going here. Great, this is perfect. It's really neat to be able to sit here and talk to you about this, especially because I know your mom. And I know she likes to cook, and I know Cassie likes to cook.
yeah,
And
Cassie used to experiment a lot with desserts when we were younger.
She made something on that Sunday where you made that lemon cake. I forget what she called it. Moon something.
Oh, jeez, I can't remember.
It was little bubble shaped things of bread and sweet stuff on it.
I think that was a different day.
It was, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Or maybe Bridget made that for something. Anyway.
Oh, my memory is terrible.
Well, thanks a lot for spending some time with us. This is Larry from Ask the Experts, and we've been visiting with Laurel, and she loves to bake, and I love to eat what she loves to cook. So thank you, Laurel, for being with us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Okay.